my channel. My name is Katie if you're new here, and we do all things faith-based on this channel. It is so lovely to have you here. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how to enjoy your Bible. So number one is find the right Bible for you. So you can get all different kinds of Bibles, and I would say try and get one that most suits your personality when it comes to sitting down and spending time with God. So I have three main Bibles that I use. The first one is this one, which is just my reading Bible. Now I do have some study notes in here from when I've been bored and I've just started to doodle. So I keep this in my handbag, and then I use it when I've got pockets of time free. So if I'm waiting for a friend, if I've gone to pick the boys up from nursery and I get there early or whatever, I can just pull this out and do some quick reading. Then sometimes I'm in a creative mood. So when I'm in a creative mood, I've got this journaling Bible, and I've got a video walking you through this Bible. If you're interested, I will link it up here. And this has got loads of space down the sides for you to write notes and to journal and to draw pictures. I'm not the most creative, but sometimes I'm just in the mood to do something a little bit artistic. I'm a very basic Bible journaler, but this is the kind of thing that I would be doing. On days where I'm feeling super creative and I don't just want to sit and read my Bible or study it, then I'll pull out this Bible. And then my main Bible, which I use all the time, and you can tell by the state of it, is my study Bible. So these Bibles are great if you want to study the Word and you need a little bit of support with it. So if you're reading the Bible and you're like, what am I reading? These types of Bibles are great for you because at the bottom they have lots and lots of study notes on each of the verses. So you can look up a verse and think, I need more explanation on that. You go to the bottom and it gives you more explanation. Simple as that. So I love this Bible. I highlight it, I put notes in it, I put post-it notes in it, I go crazy. My personal preference is to read it from an actual Bible, as in book form, but you can also get it on your phone. There is the Holy Bible app. Highly recommend that, which has all different versions, but I personally like to get my highlighters out, my pens out, and take notes, because if I try and do it on my phone, I find that it doesn't sink in as much. That's just the way I am wired, but you might be more digital and you might prefer that. So first things first is figure out the type of Bible that you want to use and make sure you've got that, because it makes it so much more enjoyable when you have got a Bible that you want to use. The second tip that I would give is just pure self-discipline and commitment. You've got to read your Bible every single day. If you don't, straight back into unmotivation. I don't know what it is, but if I read my Bible every single day, I'm excited to read it, I'm ready to read what happens next, I'm feeling inspired. If I let it go one day, that one day turns into a week, and then I'm like, oh, I've got to read my Bible. Instead of, it's a total mind shift, and that is not the way to approach reading the Bible. It is something that we should do, but we shouldn't feel like that. We shouldn't feel like, oh, I've got to read my Bible. We should be wanting to read our Bible. We should be excited to read it, to see what God has to say to us, and to learn more about Him and become more knowledgeable in His Word. Just make it easy for yourself and read it every single day, even if it's only a chapter a day. Commit to that, because then you will find that you'll start reading it more and you'll get way more into it. The third tip that I have is listen to sermons. I highly recommend Chuck Missler. He has passed away now, but all of his Bible in 24-hour series is on YouTube, and he goes through all of the books of the Bible and he gives you explanations, and he goes into way more depth than you ever would think possible. And I have learned so much from listening to his sermons. So sometimes when I'm bored on a night, rather than putting Netflix on, I'll sit and listen to the Bible in 24 hours, and it's only an hour usually each video, and I'll commit that hour to God and I will learn something new. I will link all of these down below, by the way, but I'll watch that video and I'll sit with my highlighter and my pen, and it's exciting because I know I'm going to learn something new. So I've got my highlighters, I've got my pens, I've got my Bible, I'm all cozy, I stick the YouTube video on, and then I just soak in everything he's saying and I put it into my Bible. And then the next time round when I come to read that book of the Bible, I've got all these amazing notes with so much more knowledge than I ever would have got from reading it myself. Tip number 4 is to choose a reason to read your Bible. So why do you want to read your Bible more? What is it about reading your Bible that is intriguing to you? Because if you're watching this video, you want to read your Bible because you've clicked on this video, you just haven't got the motivation maybe. So what is it that you want to learn from your Bible? Do you want to know God better? Do you want to know how you should be living as a Christian? Do you want to be more knowledgeable in all the Bible stories from the past? Do you want to see how Jesus lived his life here on earth? Do you want to look at what God says about you? Like, choose a reason for why you want to read your Bible and go into it with that attitude. So last year I went through my Bible and I highlighted in purple everything that God said about himself. So I was learning about the character of God, and I learned so much more about him than I ever would have if I was just reading it. So the 5th tip that I have is to pray. Every single time you approach your Bible, just say a quick prayer to God, ask for forgiveness, ask to be wiped clean of all sin, and just pray that God will teach you something. Sometimes you'll come away and you won't think you've learned anything from what you've just read, and don't take that too personally and be like, oh, I didn't learn anything there. If you didn't learn anything, go back to it later that night or pray to God and tell him, say, I don't feel like I learned anything there. But more often than not, you will be learning, you just won't realise, and later on things will come up and you'll be like, oh, and you've got that knowledge because you've read it. So yeah, don't just think, I'm reading my Bible and God's not speaking to me, because he will be. It's just, are you in tune to what he's telling you? Tip number 6 is to try and get a quiet space. I like to do it in my bedroom or downstairs first thing on a morning. Now, as a mum, I understand it is so hard to get quiet time. I've got 2 children under the age of 4 and it is almost impossible. So what I do is I get up early if I can before them, which is almost impossible because they get up at like 5:10. If I manage to get up before them, it's amazing. I make my coffee, I sit down and I read my Bible. But let's face it, most mornings that does not happen. So if that doesn't happen, it's totally fine. What I do is I wait until they are downstairs and they're settled, then I'll give them their breakfast, and while they are eating their breakfast, I'll put Minnow on or YouTube, something that is appropriate for them to watch, and while they are eating their breakfast and watching their TV program, then I will read my Bible. And I showed you in my last video, I think, or was it Instagram? Actually, I think it was Instagram. But what I'm using at the moment is this reading plan, and it only gives you a few chapters to read each day, and it feels great because you've accomplished that chapter. Even if you can't do all 3. I recommend that. That's to read the Bible through in a year, that app. And I'm also trying to read on a morning and a night so that I'll be able to do it in 6 months instead of in a year. Okay, so my next tip, I have no idea what number we're up to now. 7? Anyway, my next tip is to journal. Now, journaling was this whole hoo-ha for me for years, okay? I would see people on Instagram and on Pinterest journaling all these beautiful things, and I thought, yeah, I could never do that. I'm not creative at all. And then I got over myself and I realised, who would you be showing it to anyway? It's your personal journal. So I bought this off Amazon. I will link it down below. And it is a leather cover. And all it is inside is a few different notebooks, just all plain kind of parchment paper. And then, this is the extent of my kind of creativity, okay? Drawn some little bunting flags. But I thought, you know what? This is for me. And this has helped me so much in enjoying the Bible, because rather than just reading it, closing it and moving on with my day, I now find that I've got time to reflect because I'm using this. So whatever I've just read, I make myself write down what I've just learned from it. Even if it's just a Bible verse that I want to memorize, or a verse that I thought I can really apply to my life, I'll write it in here. So I'm going to show you this, because if you're anything like me, I don't want you to be put off Bible journaling by thinking that you have to be all artsy and fantastically creative, because you really don't. So I've just written here, God will use anybody who will trust him and expect to be used by him, not because of who you are, but because of his glory. And then I've done a little prayer. God use me, amen. And then I was using mild liners here just to make it look a little bit prettier, but you really just don't have to. Like, this is the extent of my journaling, you know. It's nothing, it's really nothing fancy at all. But I figured that by the time this is full, this is going to be a lovely little book just full of little notes that I've made as I've been reading my Bible. And then I've got my whole little, you know, I mean, this isn't hard. If you're not creative like me, this isn't hard. I wrote a Bible verse and then I did 3 different coloured highlighters. These are the Tombow pens. Yeah. So I hope that helped. I think sometimes we put way too much pressure on ourselves to be perfect, and at the end of the day, it's our relationship with God, nobody else's. So do not think that you can't Bible journal like I did for years because it doesn't measure up to the standard of these girls on Pinterest. Your Bible journaling is for you, it's for what you've learned, and it's for you to look back on and remember what you read that day and what you got from it. Hopefully that helps and makes you feel a bit more comfortable if you don't already about journaling. Please comment down below which type of Bible reader you are. Are you a studier? Are you a journaler? Are you a reader, or are you all three like me? Put it in the comments down below. I'd love to know what kind of reader you are. So anyway, that is the end of this video. I hope you found it useful. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and it will help my channel to grow, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!